Good morning, grade 3. How are you today? Get out your Oxford Discovery Student Book. Open page 157. Today we're going to have a new story. And our title here is The Garden of Happiness. Say again, The Garden of Happiness. So from the title here, we understand that the story will be about the garden. And why is this garden will be full of happiness? When we read, we will know why it will be full of happiness. In this story, we read about a girl's summer with her neighbors in a city. This story is a realistic fiction. What's the meaning of realistic fiction? It means that this story that could happen in our real life. So realistic fiction means that the story could happen in our real life. Also here we will highlight the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. Okay? The author of this story, it means the writer who wrote this story, is called Erica Tomer or Tamer. Erica Tamer. Now let's go to page 158. Our title here is The Garden of Happiness. The main character here in our story is called Marisol. Marisol is a young girl who likes to plant seeds to have plants later. Let's read. A young girl named Marisol plants a single seed in the garden of happiness. What's the meaning of the garden of happiness, or what they mean by this title? The garden of happiness means a small community garden in her city. It means in the city of Marisol. She waters it daily and it grows and grows. Marisol is curious about her plant. Who can tell me the meaning of curious? Curious means she wants to know more about her plant. What kind of plant is it? Meanwhile, it means at the same time a group of teenagers wants to paint a mural nearby. They aren't sure what to paint. So in the first paragraph here, we understand that there is one girl called Marisol and she had a seed and she planted it in the garden of happiness in her community, and she takes care of the seed every day. She waters it daily to have a big plant later, and she's curious about her plant. She wanted to know what's the kind of her plant. At the same time, the teenagers wants to paint a mural, but they weren't sure what to paint. Okay, so let's say the meaning of the title here. The Garden of Happiness means a small community garden in Marisol City. Let's put a question on the first paragraph. Who plants a single seed? Of course, Marisol. Number 1. Number 2. What does she do to it? She waters it daily. Correct? Now, let's move to the other question. Who wants to paint a mural? A group of teenagers. Let's move to the other paragraph or to the second paragraph. One morning, Marisol saw an amazing sight from halfway down the block. She ran the rest of the way. Standing higher than all the plants and vines in the garden was a flower as big as a plate. Her bud had turned into petals of yellow and gold. Here, let's move to our question here. What was the incredible thing that Marisol saw? a giant sunflower. What words does Number 4, what words does Marisol use to describe the sunflower? What were the words? A glowing circle, brighter than a yellow taxi, a flower of sunshine. Now let's read the third paragraph. So we understand from this question that the third paragraph is talking about her sunflower and the description of it. The third paragraph, a sunflower, Mrs. Anderson exclaimed as she pushed her shopping cart by. Reminds me of when I was a girl. The flower was a glowing circle, brighter than a yellow taxi, a flower of sunshine. Marisol thought the happiest plant in the garden of happiness. So this is the answer of our question here on the third paragraph. What words does Marisol use to describe the sunflower? A glowing circle, brighter than a yellow taxi, a flower of sunshine, and she said also it's the happiest plant in the garden. Let's move to the fourth paragraph. All summer long, it made the people on the street stop and smile. Soon, the air became cool and crisp with autumn. Mr. Castro picked the last of his tomatoes. Mr. Singh carried away a basket full of beans. Now here, what happened when the people saw the sunflower of Marisol? They stop and smile, correct? Also here, the fifth paragraph is talking about the time when the autumn came. What happened? Mr. Castro picked the last of his tomatoes. Mr. Singh carried away a basket full of beans. Here, what's our question on this paragraph? What happened when air became cool and crisp in autumn? Mr. Castro picked his tomatoes. Mr. Singh carried a basket full of beans. Let's move to the other page to read about Mrs. Willie. Here, Mrs. Willie dug up sweet potatoes. Let's move to the other page. Mrs. Willie Mae Washington dug up orange potatoes. I can almost smell my sweet potatoes pie. She winked at Marisol. Winked here means that she closed one eye. I'm gonna save an extra big slice for a good little gardener I know. So this one completes the answer of the question number 6. So here, what happened when air became cool and crisp in autumn? Mr. Castro picked his tomatoes, Mr. Singh carried a basket full of beans, and Mrs. Willie dug up sweet potatoes. What important things happened in the beginning? Beginning. What happened here? What do you think? What is the important thing here in this page? Marisol planted a seed in a small community garden. It grew, and all summer long the people enjoyed it when they stopped and smiled at it. Let's move to page 159. We wrote about Mrs. Willie when she dug up orange potatoes. It means the sweet potato. Now let's move to the other paragraph. But something terrible was happening to Marisol's flower. What was the terrible thing that happened to Marisol's flower? What do you think? Its leaves were turning brown and dry. So read question number 7 with me. What was the terrible thing that happened to Marisol's sunflower? Its leaves were turning brown and dry. My flower of sunshine is sick, Marisol cried. What should I do? So why did Marisol cry? Number 8, because she thought that her sunflower is sick. Okay. Oh child, Mrs. Willie Mae Washington said, its season is over. There is a time to bloom and time to die. No, I don't want my flower to die. So what did Mrs. Willie tell her? Number 9. She told her that its season is over. There is a time to bloom and a time to die. Okay. Me carino, don't cry. What's the meaning of me carino? Me carino is the language or is the Spanish language from Spain. Okay? And the meaning of it in English is my darling or my dear. My darling, don't cry, Mrs. Rodriguez said. That's the way of a garden. You must save the seeds and plant again next spring. Marisol was too sad to go to the empty lot anymore. For a whole week, she couldn't even look down the block where her beautiful flower used to be. Then one day, she heard people calling her name. Marisol, Marisol, come quick. Marisol, come quick. Here, what's the most important thing that happened here in the middle? What do you think? Tell me. The middle here, at the end of the summer, the sunflower started to dry up, so Marisol was sad. This is the middle. This is the most important thing that happened in the middle. Marisol, come quick. Marisol, apurate. Here, apurate means hurry or be quickly or come quickly. A golden haze shone on the street. What's the meaning of shone? Shone is the past of shine. There was a big crowd like on a holiday. Music from the bodega was loud and bright. What's the meaning of bodega? Bodega means small store. And what she saw made Marisol laugh and dance and clap her hands. So what does Marisol see at the end of the story? What do you think? What does Marisol see at the end of the story? A mural of sunflowers. By whom? By a group of teenagers who wanted to draw it at the beginning of the story. Can you remember that? Here, what do you think? What's the most important thing that happened at the end? The teenagers draw a mural of big sunflowers and everyone was happy. This is the end. Now we understand the story. Study these sticky notes very well and make like me as we used to do in the class. Here, move to page 160. Plot the Garden of Happiness. Beginning, middle, and end. The beginning here is the same that we did it here in page 158. Beginning. Marisol planted a seed in a small community garden. It grew and all summer long the people enjoyed it. So I copy it here. Marisol planted a seed in her community. It grew and all people enjoyed it. Middle, the sunflowers started to dry up, so Marisol was sad. And the teenagers drew a mural of big sunflowers which made everyone happy. What did, letter B here, what did Marisol see that made her laugh and dance at the end of the story? Why did it make her happy? She saw a mural of sunflowers. Her sunflower had died, but the mural would live forever. That's why she was happy. Letter C. Here we will match the words with the sentences or with the meaning of it. Number 1. Marisol waters her plant daily. What's the meaning of waters? Waters means Marisol puts water on her plants every day. So we will match number 1 with letter B with the ruler, okay, to be neat. Then write letter B beside number 1. Number 2. Marisol is curious about her plant. What's the meaning of curious? Marisol wants to know more about her plant. This is letter D. So curious means wants to know more. Match number 2 with D and write D on the line. Number 3. There is a time to bloom and a time to die. When a sunflower is young, it has beautiful flowers. Weeks later, the plant dies. Match number 3 with letter A and write it on the line. Number 4. Marisol was too sad to go to the empty lot anymore. Empty here means Marisol was sad because there was no plants or people in the garden anymore. So match number 4 with C and write C on the line. I hope that you understand the story very well, and I want you to apply our strategy that we talked before, beginning, middle, and end, the plot. Okay? See you next time. Thank you, grade 3.